Всем привет, англичане! На связи языковая школа LTC. Сегодня вас ожидает невероятно насыщенный выпуск, потому что в гости я пригласил не то чтобы студентов, а наших учителей и преподавателей, в том числе иностранцев, ну и местного симпатичного преподавателя. Поэтому, узнаем, кто что они себя представляют, первое впечатление, что им понравилось, ну и в целом будете иметь представление, что из себя представляет LTC. Желаю всем приятного просмотра. Так, ну что, давайте сначала познакомимся. Дэн, расскажи нам о себе, то есть, как тебя зовут, сколько тебе лет, чем ты увлекаешься?
Yeah, my name is Daniel Carlos Charles Lloyd. I am 29 years old. I was born in London, in the outer west part of London, Feltham, home to Brian May. Well, not anymore, because he can afford not to live there anymore. My degree is in human rights, which just is like a mixture of international politics and history. I chose it because it sounded interesting, and mostly it was. And what do I like to do? I like to live my life. I travel. Yeah, I like to travel. That's how I end up in Kazakhstan. Yeah, I just like to see things. I like to experience things. I also like cooking. Yeah.
Great. Kevin, now it's your turn.
I'm also Charles. My name is Kevin Charles Izquierdo, and I was born in Guayaquil, Ecuador. My family heritage is Croatian, Chilean, Spanish. I'm American. I'm 29 years old. In university, I studied international relations and political science, and I specialize in East Asian and American economics.
Wow.
Currently, I'm doing a master's in ethnopolitology, where I specialize working with the Assemblea and the Majlis of Kazakhstan about regional problems in Kazakhstan. What I like to do on my free time, I like to watch anime. Recently, I just finished watching One Piece, the live action, and I think this is so cool because I got my wife into it also. First, she was not into the animated characters, but once she saw the Netflix live version, she was into it. So I'm very excited for the next season.
Окей. Акирке, ну сейчас давай расскажи о себе.
Всем привет, меня зовут Акирке, я местный преподаватель в школе UTC на Хайвеле. Получается, мне 22 года, и я заканчивала бакалавриат по специальности английская филология, то есть больше я именно по книгам, скажем так. А так, если взять мои хобби, то я люблю читать книги, соответственно. Также увлекаюсь играми на музыкальных инструментах, и также я люблю играть в видеоигры. Это все.
Ого. Какая у тебя любимая книга?
Я бы сказала, это, наверное, такое вот клише, но я бы сказала «Маленький принц», потому что там книга детства, и прочитать его снова, когда ты уже взрослая, это как-то вот интересно, потому что новый взгляд на это.
Ага, ладно, но я не читал «Маленького принца», но тем не менее интересно было услышать. Если кто-то слышал или читал книгу «Маленького принца», то типа вот супер здорово. А еще, получается, на каком музыкальном инструменте ты играешь?
Я заканчивала, получается, музыкальную школу по специальности дамбра. Играла на дамбре, сейчас я не думаю, что я смогу снова сыграть, но если надо, я смогу вспомнить, в принципе. Немножко играю на пианино, получается, и пока все. Но хотелось бы еще скрипку.
Как вы поняли, что вы хотите быть учителем?
Well, I've always been good with people. I'm good at talking to people. That's why I'm in a room talking to people right now. Talent flows where it goes. Yeah, and I like the English language. I have a passion for the English language. I used to work a warehouse job, and sometimes the big bosses would send emails complaining we weren't doing things properly. They would stick these emails up on the notice board. I would take them down and correct their grammar mistakes. Yeah.
So savage.
So, yeah, now I'm doing the same thing, but it's good when I do that. They don't complain when I do it. I get praised for doing it. So, yeah, that's a good thing at least. And, yeah, it gives me a chance to meet, get to know people from Kazakhstan. I'd never met a Kazakh person until I came here, and now I've met a lot. So yeah.
What about your grades in school?
To be honest, I wasn't. I mean, I got good grades in school, but I sort of understood that as long as I get B's in everything, I can go to university and stuff. And if I wanted to get A's, I had to work hard, but I could kind of get B's just by doing the minimum. So I did that. I got B's. I cared more about basketball when I was at when I was at school. I wasn't that fussed about school, but I wasn't like a disruptive student or anything. I wasn't a bad student. I just wasn't a great student.
Kevin, do you play basketball?
No, I'm too short for basketball, sadly.
Oh no! Actually, you know that they have like positions with a short height players.
Muggsy
like
Bogues
this, no?
was 5'2" and he played in the NBA.
But you know, in New York, we have basketball nets and in many neighborhoods, and like anybody who's playing, at least from my experience, was really tall or athletic. And my sport I actually dedicated my time to was football and fencing. So I can fence, but not play basketball. No, sadly. But I like to watch because it's very. I like seeing the constant scoring. It's really fun to watch. Yeah. But definitely I cannot play. I don't even know how to shoot.
Тебе на помощь подняться?
Наоборот, хочу ниже, потому что...
Falling, no? It's falling, no?
Чуть-чуть ниже стало.
Okay. Well, I grew up in Brooklyn, in New York, and one of the first things I did in New York was play chess. And while I was playing chess, I was kind of like sponsored or taught by this non-profit. It's called Chess in the Schools. And they go to New York neighborhoods that are underprivileged, and they teach us how to play chess. In addition, after playing chess for about 5 years, they taught me how to teach chess. And they brought me to a college-bound program. And while I was in the college-bound program, they were giving me lessons for about years, how to teach chess to children in my same situation as me. And I used this skill, and I brought this skill to Japan, where I was teaching chess in Japan and English in Japan as well. And I'm using the same skills now at LTC.
Wow.
I can't explain my emotions. That's absolutely cool. Does anybody play chess?
I don't. I'd like to know how to play chess, but I just never have done.
Okay.
I play, but I'm like very, very new by at chess, actually.
In
But I like it.
Sorry to cut you.
Sorry.
No, sorry. In Kazakhstan, actually, you guys will be very proud. 2 days ago, Kazakh from Petropavlov, Alisher Sumeylenov, he just beat the world champion Magnus Carlsen in chess in competition in Qatar. So it shows that Kazakhstan is, besides having a good history of chess, they are extremely good at chess.
Yes.
They can have a world championship very soon. And actually, last month in the Asian Games, the Kazakh women team came in second place, very short from getting the first place.
Yeah, I know. My students love chess.
Mine too.
Yeah, people here love chess.
Я, как бы сказать, то есть у меня никогда не было цели конкретно стать учителем. Я выбрала английский просто потому, что я была в школе достаточно хороша по английскому языку именно. И когда я спрашивала друзей, куда мне поступить в 11 классе, мне сказали, что вот, ты можешь выбрать английский, потому что ты как бы хороша в нем. Ну, я поступила на филолога, переехала сюда в Астану, и надо было найти работу. Мне предложили получить работу в ЛТС, и я подумала, что да, почему бы нет. Но хоть это и не было моей изначальной целью или какой-то мечтой, мне очень нравится сейчас работать именно учителем, потому что я не думаю, что это так весело на самом деле, оказывается. Что вас удивило больше всего, когда вы приехали в Казахстан?
This is a tough question because I have traveled across East Asia, and Kazakhstan culture is very similar to Latin culture in many ways. And there's a lot of close bond with the family, and something we have similar. And eating British Mark horse was not surprising for me at all, because in Japan we also eat horse. Surprisingly was when I was doing research, I found out Kazakhstan's population was not as big as I thought. And I learned that there's a little of the cultural difference between North Kazakhstan, West Kazakhstan, and South Kazakhstan. And there's a friendly rivalry about Astana and Almaty. And these competitions what surprised me because I thought everybody would just love Astana because it's a capital and it's brand new.
But like everyone is like, no, Almaty is better than Astana or otherwise.
And I was living in Almaty prior to coming to Astana for 5 months. And Almaty surprised me. So if you're from Almaty, you should be very proud of your city. It has a lot of fun things to do at night. I like going to those many Starbucks over there.
No.
Astana doesn't have many Starbucks compared to Almaty, I noticed. But I love both cities, and my next goal is to go to the west of Kazakhstan.
See, I found Almaty disappointed me because I've been living in Astana for over a year, and all I heard from everyone, Almaty is the best.
Yeah.
Allah, it made Almaty himself. What a great city. So because I've been everyone from Kazakhstan in my ear for over a year telling me how great Almaty was, of course when I go there, it's not going to live up to those expectations.
So
I thought it was a very good city. Yeah, I did like Almaty a lot. But yeah, because I've been told for like over a year, this is the best place in the world, it fell short of that.
Actually, my mom is from Almaty.
Yeah.
So we often go to Almaty, especially on holidays or vacations. So I kind of like both of the cities, like Almaty and Astana too. But I'm not from Astana actually originally. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not criticising Almaty at all. I did like it as a city. And I liked how cheap the shashlik was as well. That was mad compared to here. Yeah, madness. Yeah, I did like Almaty. It's just the expectations were so high.
What do you think about Боровое? Have you been there?
Yeah, actually, I went to Borovое like 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago. Yeah, last week actually. Yeah, last weekend I went there. Yeah, I had a good time. We climbed up a mountain and then I ran back down and my legs hurt all week.
Obviously.
Yeah. And then, yeah, we didn't actually go to the lake because we didn't want to follow the path. We wanted to find our own path and we couldn't find our own path. But yeah.
Cool.
I went to Borovое last week. It was 2 weeks ago, not 1 week ago, yeah. Lose track of time. But yeah, it was a good time and it was very easy to get to on the train as well.
Actually, Pedro showed me your pictures when you were together in Borovое. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a nice weekend.
Kevin?
Have you been to?
I've been to Borovое. I went to Borovое last year, the first time I came to Kazakhstan. I loved it. It was exactly how the team in Expo presented. So I was working in Expo Dubai 2020. And I was working for the US pavilion, and next to me was the Kazakhstan pavilion. And by the way, Kazakhstan won the best pavilion for its size, so congratulations in Expo. And Kazakhstan team, they did really well at explaining what is the beauty of Kazakhstan. And one of the things they mentioned was Borovое, and they also mentioned Charin Canyon, and they also mentioned Kostar Lake. So of course, when I'm in Kazakhstan, I want to go to all these places. So it was Borovое, Kostar, and Charin was places I visited, and I love all of them.
I want to, just in case this podcast gets very big and Tokayev is listening, Charin Canyon made me very, very angry, actually.
What?
Because I saw pictures of Charin Canyon and it looks incredible.
Yeah.
Like, it looks so, so beautiful. And I thought, I'm in Almaty, I'll go to Charin Canyon. If you don't have a car, you are not going to Charin Canyon. It's 4 hours away. How difficult would it be to just have a bus running for tourists? You could charge them like 10,000 tenge and people would pay. You would print money. Why is there no bus to Charin Canyon?
10,000 tenge? It is only bus or maybe...
You could, if you told tourists it's 10,000 tenge for a bus, they would say, $20. Yeah, I'll pay that.
Foreigners, definitely, I agree.
Yeah.
Actually, I've been this year on Charin Canyon.
Yeah, I was so upset I didn't get to visit.
It was beautiful, but I don't know, like, how to say... Like the infrastructure and everything was so disappointing, actually, especially the bus thing. The summer.
This summer?
Yeah. Have you been there?
I was there this summer also, and last year I was also there. Last year to this year is a big change. They're having like a little coffee shop, store now. So infrastructure is changing little by little. They have one coffee shop now, and like it has some bathrooms, which is good.
Next year will be two coffee shops.
Yeah, but it's good, and we can see the change there. But we should go every year and see the change.
Okay, let's go together.
Какие какие казахские блюда или напитки вам понравились и какие бы вы порекомендовали?
Well, I love shashlik. Obviously, barbecued meat. Cannot go wrong with barbecued meat. And like my not so far back, but like my dad's side of the family was from Argentina, which is the best country in the world at barbecuing meat. No offense to Kazakhstan, but obviously, I love shashlik. Not strictly, not Kazakh, but very common here, and not something I'd really had before much of is plov. I'm a huge fan of plov. Huge fan of plov, mate. Yeah, I love plov. Bishbarmak. I don't want to get like attacked in the street. I think bishbarmak is a bit overrated. In that I do think bishbarmak is nice. But yeah, I don't think it's top tier like shashlik or plov, but people here are very, very proud of their bishbarmak.
Of course, it is only your opinion.
Yeah.
But what advice can you give us to improve the bishbarmak?
Oh no!
It doesn't need improvement.
Yeah, no, I don't think it needs improving. It's a traditional food. Yeah, I wouldn't want to change it.
Yeah.
I just think like. I don't know, I just think people here like it more than I do, which I guess if they grew up eating it, they have memories with it and it's their heritage.
Logical.
And I do like it, I'm not criticising it.
What about Kazakh drinks, tan?
Ayran, tan,
yes.
hummus.
I hate kumis with a passion. Kumis to me tastes like someone found some milk in the cupboard that had been there for 1 year. And they thought, maybe this will be good if I mix it with lemonade. I had some homemade kumis from a yurt in Kyrgyzstan. And I would say that was bad. Supermarket kumis is terrible.
Yeah,
that was just bad. It's this because I was very excited to try kumis before I came here. I thought I'll spend my days sitting in the snow drinking kumis, but it wasn't meant to be.
Actually, it depends on where it's this hummus from.
Yeah.
Because some of them are really not so good, and some of them also is really good. Because I don't drink hummus personally, but once I tried one hummus which my dad brought me. And it was so good, actually. I was so surprised. It can be so good, actually.
The one drink I will give respect to is it shumbat, the camel milk. I really like that. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Okay, Kevin, what about you?
The hummus is the horse milk, yes?
Yes.
So when I drink hummus, I feel very connected to Kazakhstan. I feel very connected to the culture. First time I tried this was actually in New York with my Uzbek friend and his family, and they explained to me how it's from the horse and it's a little sour. I'm not gonna like it. But I don't know. I was in the military. I was in the Navy, and I was just told to appreciate all the food I can get. And whenever I drink it, I feel connected to the steppes. Recently, I watched this movie about Kazakh independence and Kazakh famous writers. I watched it yesterday. And yes, and there's a scene with the Jews and the steppes, and I'm really proud of it. So I feel Kazakh when I drink hummus.
No.
And my favorite dish in Kazakhstan is gurdak. And I love gurda because it's very similar to a Spanish plate called chivo guisado, which is Spanish from Ecuador. And it's very similar. And I had this in a village on my way to Charin Canyon. When I went to Charin Canyon, we went very locally. We stopped in somebody's house. I don't know this person. And this person is working for our tour guide. And it was authentic Kazakh village gurdak. And it is my favorite food. I love it.
Is that the one that's like offal? Offal, like the achuras.
Okay.
What? It's maybe achura's Argentine word. The like insides of the animal.
No.
What's that? Because I really like that.
I remember it was like a stew kind of gurdak, and it had potatoes, and potatoes was so good with the sauce. I loved it. And I think this is the best dish in this region.
My father has the same opinion about gurdak. He adores gurdak.
Yeah, so isn't gurdak isn't it like liver and kidneys and such?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
It depends.
Because I had one from a very Kazakh cafe close to LTC1. And yeah, it was all like just different cuts of offal on the thing. And I tried it and yeah, I loved it.
Actually, if you want to taste like as a real Kazakh dish,
Yeah.
I would really recommend you to go to the guest of Kazakh people, for example, because they prepare the food even better than cafes.
Yeah, I mean, I've only had bishbarmak as like a guest at someone's house kind of thing. I haven't had it from a restaurant. But yeah, I'd be very disappointed if I bought kurdak and it didn't have insides.
Liver.
Yeah, it was just normal meat. I'd be very disappointed.
Что вы можете сказать насчет климата в Казахстане, насчет погоды? So what can you tell about weather, climate?
Well, I was in Almaty, and I was in Almaty for the winter. It wasn't that bad. It was like similar to New York weather. I have not experienced Astana winters yet. I am waiting for the scare.
Good luck.
Winter.
Right.
Yeah, so this time of year, every day I'm checking the weather forecast to see when it's coming. Like, I remember last year, the first snowfall was the 28th of September because I wrote it in my phone.
Yeah.
But the frost didn't come until the middle of November. Because, and I remember at the end of October, there was one day I woke up and the city was white. And I was thinking, this is it. But then it melted by midday, so I was like, come. But actually, so I planned to come on holiday to Kazakhstan before I took this job. Me and some friends were going to do the Mongol Rally, which is where you drive from England to Lake Baikal. And we were going to come through through Kyrgyzstan into Almaty, round the east, and then into Russia. We didn't do it because of COVID. But then, so all I knew about Kazakhstan, I knew from the Mongol Rally. So I knew about the weather in South Kazakhstan in August. So when I took this job, which was in February 2 years ago, I was thinking February of last year, I was thinking like, all right, cool, Kazakhstan, I'll buy some shorts, nice hot desert country. Then I Googled weather in Astana and it's like minus 35.
It's okay still.
What?
Ездили ли вы на наших автобусах и какое ваше мнение о них?
So I hadn't ridden a bus until the end of August this year. That was my first bus experience, and it was a fun experience. Then, like a week or two later, me and Pedro had a day where we just got on buses and just saw where we went. Like, didn't plan. It was fun. We went to some weird, like, slum-looking neighborhood. Then we went to some very rich-looking neighborhood. And then we ended up at Big Shanghai, which is my new favorite place in the city. I liked riding the buses here. They're very cheap as well. I don't know how expansive they are because I don't really need to ride buses anyway. But yeah, I got no issues with the buses here. They seem okay.
I have actually never taken the bus in Astana because I'm new to Astana. As you guys know, I was in Almaty for 5 months. But you should be proud of your train in Almaty. It's very nice. It's deep. It's better than the one in New York. So congratulations to being better than New York in trains.
Yeah.
One thing, when I went to use the metro in Almaty, you can't pay with Kaspi.
Now you can.
Really, you couldn't.
you
When
can.
I went in July.
Oh, this year?
And I couldn't.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was like QR, and she was like no, and I was like perevod, and she's like no.
I
She's
could
like
do
card
it.
or like cash. Maybe it was just the station we're at.
Maybe.
I was like, bro, what are you? This is Kazakhstan. Of course I don't have a card or cash on me. What are you talking about? But yeah, luckily there was a girl who paid for us.
Вау.
Yeah.
Так, кстати, вот сейчас хочу спросить. Получается, как вам наш Kaspi Bank? Какие там есть интересные функции? Что вы о нем думаете? Bank.
I think Kaspi Bank is great, and anytime some of my students start saying Kazakhstan's not a very technological country, it's like, bruv, you have Kaspi. I'd never paid using my phone until I came to this country, and now I don't even know where my bank card is. It's somewhere in my flat. I don't need it. Yeah. The only thing I do is I wish they had English on their app, but yeah. Apart from that, I got a lot of time for Kaspi.
As I know, we don't have any other alternatives in other countries. except of Kazakhstan.
Yeah, it's also Kaspi is great for foreign people because, like, for me to send money back to England, it costs like I can send back. So I sent my mum 45,000 tenge, and it cost about 300. That's how much it cost me. And when I got to Kazakhstan, trying to use my English bank card was a nightmare. I was living off like the 500 tenge hot dogs from Small. That was all I could afford to eat for my first 2 weeks here until my bank got sorted out. When I went to England and I needed my Kaspi money, I just put my Kaspi in the first ATM I saw and it worked perfectly and I didn't have to pay any extra fees.
Окей, следующий вопрос. Какова стоимость жизни в Астане по сравнению с вашей родной страной?
Well, my home country is New York.
Yeah.
Rent will be in New York is about $3,000 plus if you're lucky with food, maybe $500-$700 on food. Then transportation, healthcare, taxes. New York is expensive.
Yeah.
But also you get paid a lot in New York. But I just think in general, Kazakhstan is more affordable to live, and you enjoy more for what you get. For example, here I don't have to worry about my safety as much. Here I can walk my dog in the park in the evening. There's no crazy people compared to New York. I don't have to worry about people with guns or a group of people trying to attack me. Even though it's not expensive here, it is safer here. And sometimes you have to find a way to balance safety compared to income. And I think here is a better standard of living in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I'm from London, so yeah, I guess the prices are probably roughly the same. And yeah, although there are some crazy people here. I went to Small yesterday and there was a man who had to be removed by the police because he was shouting at the people who work there.
Wow.
I'm like, bruv, you're a grown man who's spending his Saturday night shouting at the employees at Small. Like, get a hobby. But yeah, and I agree about safety as well. Yeah, this city feels very safe.
Как вы проводите ваше свободное время? Какие у вас есть увлечения? Может быть, порекомендуете какие-нибудь развлечения, которые вы нашли у нас в городе?
I like going to restaurants. Yeah, I like going out to eat, restaurants and cafes. I like to walk around. This is a very, very good city for walking because it's very flat and there's no chance of accidentally walking into the wrong neighborhood. So, yeah, and there's like interesting little things to find. So, yeah, very good city for walking as long as their ground isn't covered in 12 inches of ice. So, yeah, I like to go out and, yeah, stay at home because I like to cook as well. It's fun going to markets and finding new things I can cook with. I got a huge amount of salmon, like offcuts of salmon for like 2,000 tenge at some market near a university yesterday. So, yeah, I made salmon with a nice beurre blanc sauce and pasta for lunch before I came here today. Very delicious. Yeah, and then like socializing. I've made a lot of friends here. Some locals, some not so local. I bought my school friend Pedro to come out here and work alongside me. So, yeah, and yeah, I sometimes go and play basketball as well. Like go down to the courts and just play with the kids or the adults, depending on who's there. The kids are easier to beat, but more embarrassing when you lose. Yeah.
During my free time, it depends. Right now, I'm waiting to start going to Astana Opera frequently. As again, when I was in Expo Dubai, one of the highlights of Kazakhstan Pavilion was the arts, and I'm excited to see the arts. It's Astana Ballet, Astana Opera. They're known for being some of the best ballet in the world.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I went to ballet at Astana Opera in January, and I am not the sort of man who goes to the ballet, but I really enjoyed it. It was mad to watch, yeah.
Also, my wife, she was one of the main persons at Astana Opera before, so she's been telling me to go. And all the things I like to see when is the football matches, because Kazakhstan is part of the European Soccer League organization. So soon, already Kazakhstan started the Euro qualifying, and I think they lost recently to Denmark. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have to fight for Kazakhstan. But
But
I'm also
they beat other team. I don't remember.
Northern Ireland. I think they beat. Yes?
Didn't they? I think they beat Denmark recently
I
in the game
guess,
in
yeah, I guess
Astane.
Oh, they did win.
Yeah,
They did
no.
win.
So the game yesterday was in Denmark and they lost.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
But like
thank
they
you.
played a couple months back. I think.
Yeah.
I think it was against It was against the team that they were not expected to beat. I think it was Denmark still,
I guess
and they
so.
won. Yeah.
And so I used to live next to Astana Arena. One of the first things I saw was they had a game against Dinamo Zagreb. And as you guys know, I'm part Croatian. And the goalie for Dinamo Zagreb was Livakovic. And he was the hero for Croatia during the World Cup. So I got to see him live for the first time ever in Kazakhstan, not even in Croatia or in America.
Каковы ваши впечатления от местных жителей и их гостеприимства?
So I have perhaps a controversial opinion in that in Astana anyway, Kazakh hospitality is a myth. So don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing the people of Kazakhstan. They're people like in every other country. Some of them are good, some of them aren't. But yeah, I've been to quite a few countries, and I don't feel that the people here are especially hospitable. I mean, more hospitable than England, definitely, but that's not particularly difficult. An angry dog is more hospitable than England.
Good compare.
Yeah, but if I compare it to, like, say, place I've been, like to, I don't know, Argentina, which nobody talks about Argentine hospitality, but yeah, I definitely felt more like that was more hospitable. Or to like Balkan countries where everyone seems like they hate you until you actually speak to them, and they're very friendly and hospitable. Yeah, I feel like Kazakhstan, at least in Astana, where I've been, falls short of that. There are like people here, there are some genuinely friendly people here. Yeah, although there are a lot of very, I'd say, toxic, like ultra-nationalist people here.
It is.
Yeah, people who want to fight you because you're foreign, which isn't the behaviour of hospitable people. So yeah, I like the people of Kazakhstan. I've had a good time living here. I've met some great people, but yeah, I'm not a big believer in Kazakh hospitality, at least from my experience.
Так, мне теперь интересно узнать, какие казахские слова и фразы вы узнали и какие вы используете в жизни.
I use one word that's very easy to use and I can see everywhere. Dariyahana. Because I always have to go to the pharmacies and this is written everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, in New York, in Brighton Beach, and in Forest Hills, we have a lot of Polish and Russian people, and it's apteka everywhere. So this was the first foreign word I learned from this region. But in here, it's opposite. Here is darihana, it's a local word. So I'm always reading this sign, like I figure it out. And then the other word I learned was dukan. Because again, it's everywhere. So words that you can put everywhere, and also in Latin alphabet, makes it really easy for foreigners to learn. And I hope, Mr. Tokayev, I hope you continue your Kazakh linguistic approach to our beautiful country to increase the Kazakh language. All the words I know is Rakmit, Sabor, Yaksa, Mim, Menim,
Asbolson.
Asbolson, yes. Of course. So I know these words, not too many to be honest. But very important word, view in the desert, su, which is water.
Yeah.
Su.
Because in Japan we use the word sui for water, so I can correlate this with Japanese. And I think kuro, which is black. How do you say black? Kara, which is black. Yes, that's.
Kara is also C.
See? Okay. So I know.
I learnt very early on that the sounds made in Kazakh are not sounds my mouth can make. Yeah, so I didn't. So I kind of gave up on learning it. But I mean, there was also when I got here, there was another foreign teacher at LTC called Zach, or Mr. Torre, as the students know him as. Yeah, so he spent. He was here for 9 months, and he was in Kazakh classes with like some professor. Yeah, very good teacher. He spent 9 months learning Kazakh. He spoke I mean, obviously it was only 9 months, he wasn't fluent, but he spoke conversational Kazakh, and nobody in this city could understand him. They would just reply to him in Russian.
No.
So, yeah, it's like... Well, like, I mean, not they did understand him,
Yeah.
but they would just speak in Russian, and he's like, I don't speak Russian. Like, yeah, so... Yeah, and I mean, I remember I had one student who was a Chinese Kazakh who came to Astana. He was studying medicine, but he needed IELTS, so he came to LTC. And he said he moved to Astana to come back to his homeland of Kazakhstan, meet his dream Kazakh woman, finish, like, become a doctor, fall in love, and have a family. And I'm like, okay, so how's that going for you? He's like, it's terrible. None of the women speak Kazakh, and I don't speak Russian.
He should go to the south part of Kazakhstan.
Пока мы говорим о студентах, а как вы вовлекаете вот учеников на своих занятиях?
Me or
Both of you.
I don't know, like, I guess just trying to make it more interesting for them, trying to show them more, make it more relevant as well. I guess those are like the basic things, because if something's interesting and relevant, then anyone is going to learn it. It doesn't matter if they're like 10 or 70. If it's interesting and relevant, then they'll be more interested. As for specific techniques, I mean, it depends entirely on the group, I would say. Yeah, there's no like overall blanket technique, because every class is different. Some are easy, some are difficult. But yeah, every class is different and needs a different approach.
Okay, Kevin.
I agree. Every class needs a different approach. For example, for small children, I like to play games with them. Sometimes I like to trick them into playing games where for anything they say right, I just give them a point. But it's just, point is nothing. You know, they don't get anything. It's just on the board. But it motivates them because they're competing with each other, and they don't get any prize. But psychologically, it makes them more engaged for children. And then for my older students, I usually connect it with anything in my studies. For example, I did law, I did economics, I do some basic sciences. So some of my classes recently, they just read about people in Tibet at high elevations, and how people in Tibet have developed a special gene to allow them to, for their blood not to connect too much, for the hemoglobin not to connect or thicken their blood. And these students, they found this article very interesting, because a lot of them are into math and sciences, and they just want English to go into that field. So they're like, oh, thank you, Mr. Kevin, for giving us a science article. Or another articles I gave my students was talking about history of Kazakhstan. Just basic words that are in English. For example, they didn't know that Sitya is a translation of sock into English. And whoa, wow. Or I talk about Tomiris, and how Tomiris is in English, and how she killed Cyrus, and she beheaded Cyrus and put Cyrus' head in a bag of blood, supposedly. So they get excited when I connect it to their country, to their culture. And since this is my field of study, for me it's easier to connect it to Kazakh history or general history and world problems.
Yeah, I found one of my classes really liked it when I said I read the plot of the Kazakh Tomiris movie, and I was complaining about how it was totally historically inaccurate.
I didn't know that movie.
Yeah, it was really like hyped up. I remember reading about it before it came out, and someone mentioned in class that they watched it and they thought the special effects were really bad. And I said I heard about that, and I was excited. I thought, oh, good Kazakh film that will be interesting. And then I read the plot, and I thought, this is just a made-up story, but they've just put the name Tomiris and Cyrus into it. And yeah, they liked me listening to me complain about that, and they had complaints too. It was a good bonding experience.
Так, дайте пару важных советов ученикам, которые учат английский язык.
Okay. Well, the most important advice is come to one of our language schools for a free trial lesson.
Right.
Yeah, and then, well, yeah, I mean, obviously, if you do come to one of our schools for a free trial lesson, like, try and engage with the class. I mean, at the end of the day, you're there to speak English. So if you don't speak English, you're not helping yourself. Don't be, like, embarrassed or shy. You are going to make mistakes, and so is every single other person in that classroom. And, Yeah. Like, don't feel bad about that. If you get to intermediate level, you're already better at English than most English people are anyway. Ask the average person on the street in England what is an adverb, and they'll say, is that a city in the north? So yeah. And then also, like, try and look for things you're interested in. For me, learning Spanish, listening to music is a great help. It also helps now that my accent sounds kind of like a criminal from the Argentinian slums who barely speak Spanish, which can be, so yeah, you can mold your accent to what you want because you pick up what you hear.
Right.
So yeah, but if you like watching TV shows or something, you can try watching, depending on how good your English is, you could watch it in English with English subtitles. If it's not so good, then watching in Russian with English subtitles because words still might filter through. And also changing games. Changing like games you play regularly is a great help. I learned the present perfect in Spanish because of Pokemon Go. So yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Even with Pokemon Go. Nonsense.
Kevin, your advices?
One of the advices I give new students, and I give all my students always, is when I have a new student or when I have a brand new class, I show them a video. There's a video on Instagram and TikTok about this high school girls who just graduated high school and they're going into college. They're from Texas. And I try to tell my students there's no such thing as a perfect English accent. We have people from England, people from New York, Hawaii, Texas, even Australia, and we all have a different accent. And accents are the most important thing. It is about your will to learn English and your commitment to learn English. So I show them this video and like, my name is Holly, I'm from, and they're like, what? They cannot understand. They barely can understand what is this accent. I say, I can understand either, even though this is from my country, it's from USA. And so there's a certain accent. And it's okay though. Can you read English? Do you want to speak English? Are you listening to English movies? Are you watching English movies? Are you listening to English music? I always try to motivate them and show them that there's no such thing as perfect accent. Just keep going. Don't stop.
Так, ну все, ладно. That's all. We have finished. Well done. Cool, guys.
Alright, thanks for watching and come to a free trial lesson at LTC. Goodbye.
Goodbye.